It's a great blessing to be with you on New Year's Day. If you're taking the time on New Year's Day to tune in, that's a great blessing to me. Thank you for doing that. And believe it or not, we're in 2025. It's just an unbelievable reality. That's what we say every year, but it is always true each year. It's a shock when we get to that new year, but it's a great year of opportunity. God's allowed us to be alive. He hasn't come back yet, which means that all that he wants to do is very exciting in these days ahead. And that's not just some enthusiastic perspective. That's really a biblical perspective, and we need to understand that. Keeping that in mind, I'd like to go to Psalm 59. As you know, we started the word of encouragement during the COVID time because of all of the problems that were going on in the world. We, even as a church, for just a short amount of time, didn't meet together, and then we began to do that, but it continued on with these little broadcasts so for the sake of just keeping our perspective biblical on the world. And think about, in just these 4 years plus, how things have changed. Leaders have changed. Nations have changed. Wars have come up. Wars have stopped. I mean, it's amazing. It would take me right now a good half hour, if I was going rapidly, to go through all the changes that have occurred in our country and internationally since we started this little podcast. And I want us to realize that though things may really be bothering you right now, or you may be encouraged about other things, that God is in control. And in Psalm 59, as we look at this new year, he talks about the enemies of the Lord and the enemies of God's people. And very interesting, it says in verse 8 of 59, "But thou, O Lord, shalt laugh at them. Thou shalt have all the heathen in derision." Now, God obviously wants all the heathen to be saved, but he's speaking of Satan's control over them to go against the name of the Lord, the work of God, the people of God, and they think they're so strong, and the Lord just laughs at them. You know, a believer also begins to learn as you grow in the Lord that things do change. Men are not as strong as you think. Now, at times they can really wield great authority, but God can change that in just a moment. But I want to get to the next verse 9. "Because of his strength will I wait upon thee, for God is my defense." I've said this a number of times to our own church, but to believers, that we need to be actively involved in our system of elections and so forth. I'm firmly for that. We were this last round. We need to do the best we can. Above all, we need to pray. But we've got to be very careful about taking things into our own hands overly so with a wrong spirit. We can do a lot of things, and I thank God for what Christians did in these last several months. It was amazing. But it is God that is our defense. We start with trusting him and then allow him to lead us as to what we should do. If we react and get upset, it'll kill our spiritual life, and it will cause us to lose our testimony if we don't watch out. We don't need to live wringing our hands. God's in control. In fact, the dark times are the very times that the light will shine and God will use us. If things are going better, we need to take advantage of that and realize that God is on the move during that better time. So I just want to encourage you as this year begins, realize that whatever reports you're going to hear in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, and there'll be many of those reports, good and many bad, remember, God is in heaven. He is in control, and he is your defense.